If you currently have student loan debt and you're looking to purchase a home, you're going to want to listen to this video all the way to the end. In March of 2020, there was a government forbearance put on all government federal student loan debt. And recently in October of 2023, that government forbearance had been lifted. What that meant was now that anyone who missed a payment, did not make a payment or set up a payment arrangement could be reported late on their credit report. So the government put in place different systems and different programs to kind of help. The government put in place a new program called the SAVE program. The SAVE program was a new program which was implemented so that student loan borrowers or people who have student loan debt were looking to get a lower monthly payment as they paid back. Now, you still had your traditional options of an income-based repayment plan, income-driven repayment plan, your regular amortized payment. A lot of people during that time thought that we were also going to have student loans forgiven. At one point, the government was going to forgive $20,000 of student loan debt to people who qualified, and the House and the Congress, the Democrats, Republicans could not come to an agreement. So that went by the wayside. Now we have where the government forbearance has been lifted and people are looking for options. Amidst of all of this, we're still having record highs in home ownership in terms of pricing, as well as we're having 20-year highs in terms of interest rate. If you add all that together, plus the new student loan payments, a lot of people are putting themselves in a position where they can't purchase a home. I'll explain to you. If you're new to the channel, do me a huge favor and subscribe. And if you have any comments on this video, drop a comment below. So with student loans, a lot of people are now looking to figure out a repayment option. They have where you have the regular income-based repayment plan. You have the income-driven repayment plan. Now, when it comes to financing a mortgage, there are only certain type of repayment plans that the government, Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, will accept. The main one is something inside of the income-based repayment plan. If that income-based repayment plan has a payment of zero, and zero is reporting on your credit report for FHA, the lender has to use a 0.5% of the balance. If you have $100,000 in student loan debt and you have to use 0.5% of the balance, that is a $500 a month payment that has to be used to qualify the borrower. If you are doing conventional financing and you have the same $100,000 in student loan debt and you have a zero payment on your credit report, as well as a zero payment for your SAVE or income-based repayment plan, you can use the zero payment. That is for Fannie Mae financing on conventional. On Freddie Mac, you have to use a 0.5%. The 0.5% is $500. If your student loans are currently deferred and you're using FHA financing, it automatically defaults to a 0.5% of the student loan balance. If you are doing conventional financing and you have student loan debt and it is in deferment, then you automatically default to 1% of the student loan balance. On that $100,000 student loan debt that may be sitting there in deferment, you're looking at $1,000 a month payment. You do not have to be making these payments. However, those payments are calculated in because at some point you will start paying back those student loans, and they need to have some payment in there to make sure you have the ability or know how to pay back, including with your new mortgage. What we're running into is people no longer qualifying for a mortgage because they got the SAVE program. And I'm not sure what happened in terms of the lender. However, with the SAVE program, if you have a zero payment and there is a zero payment reporting on your credit report and you're using FHA financing, you cannot use a $0 payment. It automatically defaults to a 0.5% of the student loan balance. So let's take that same $100,000 that we've been referring to throughout this video, and that person thought that they had a zero payment The lender received the paperwork and said, oh, we'll use a zero payment. They pre-approved the borrower and they said, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you are now approved for $400,000. Mr. and Mrs. Smith get their pre-approval letter from their lender. They go out, they go shopping, and they identify a property they want to put a contract on. Now they have this property under contract. They go through the inspections. They're working on the appraisal. The contract has been submitted to underwriting, and the underwriter confirms. They look at everything and they find out that Mr. and Mrs. Smith have a save plan with a zero payment. And on the credit report, there is also a zero payment reporting. Now that the underwriter automatically has to default to a 0.5%. So the pre-approval that was given to the Smiths that had a zero payment for student loan debt now has a $500 a month payment because they have to use some sort of payment inside of the student loan debt. They have to use some payment above $0 in the DTI for the student loan debt. So by adding that $500 a month, if the $400,000 was the max for the Smiths, and now you add $500 a month into their debt to income ratio, they no longer qualify for that payment. They no longer qualify for that loan at $400,000. They have to come up with more income, or they have to get out of their contract or pay something down or figure out a way to help them qualify for that $400,000 home. A lot of people are running into this issue, and up front, most lenders should know this guideline. This is not a new guideline. It wasn't just implemented. And what you need to do if you're looking to purchase a home in 2024 and beyond until this guideline change, if you're using FHA financing, you're going to have some, and you're on a save plan or income-based repayment plan, you're going to have some sort of payment documented above $0. If it's $1, $2, $5, you need to have some sort of payment documented so you can use that and it can be used into your income-based repayment plan. The only type of financing that will take a zero payment from an income-based repayment plan or save repayment plan is conventional financing, and it has to be underwritten through Fannie Mae. It cannot be Freddie Mac. For USDA, you need some sort of repayment plan as well. It can be income-based repayment plan, income-driven. So the VA calculation on student loan debt is slightly different than conventional. On that same $100,000 that we've been using as an example in this video, VA uses 5% of the balance, which is $5,000. So 5% of $100,000 is $5,000. And then we're going to divide that by 12 months. When we divide the $5,000 by 12 months, that gives us $416.67. That is the payment we have to utilize in your debt to income ratio on VA financing if you do not have an income-based repayment plan set up showing what the payment amount is. On USDA financing, the USDA student loan calculation is the same as FHA. We use 0.5% of the balance, which on $100,000 on a student loan, that's a $500 a month payment that we would need to use. However, USDA is flexible on the type of repayment plan that you can show. So you can use continuous repayment plan, pay as you earn, income-based repayment plan, fully amortized repayment plan, as well as a host of other repayment plans. If this video has been helpful, do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. If you have any questions pertaining to home ownership or qualifying for FHA financing or conventional financing, click right here for FHA financing and click here for conventional financing.